How am I supposed to review this? This thing's massive. I'll figure something out, I guess. Hello everybody and welcome back to another Gunpla review. Today we're taking a look at the massive high-grade Psycho Gundam. And starting off as always with the articulation. This thing is on the table right now and it's still it's kind of hard to get this thing in frame. For the sake of showing off the articulation, I took the shield off, but there's no real reason to do that outside of that. The head is on a ball joint. It can look up and down a little bit and can pretty much get a full rotation without any trouble. The arms are just pegged on. Thankfully these are hinged for the transformation so they don't get in the way. The shoulder armor is separate to the actual joint, so you can get out 90 degrees with no trouble there. It is a bicep rotation. A 90 degree, it's like very slightly off 90 degrees. It's very close, it's like 85, let's say. Bend at the elbow, pretty decent wrists, and pretty much fully articulated hands. I mean, the thumb is on a ball joint, and then every finger is a ball joint and a single hinge at the lower knuckle, so really well articulated. As for the waist, the side skirts are very slightly hinged, and the front skirts are ball jointed and separated by default. Which, again, given how massive this thing is, isn't really a surprise. Aside from that, though, there's no rotation or anything due to how this thing transforms, but the hips are on ball joints. So, about 45 degrees out to the side, and just under 90 degrees out to the front. A little bit to the back. Pretty good rotation, considering it's just a ball joint. I'll give them credit for that. Now, the knees actually do get a full 90, which is nice. There's a little cutout specifically for the armor there. And the ankles have a really insanely good tilt, considering it's just a ball joint in there. Also, the ankle guard is articulated separately. So despite being such a massive suit, and honestly having a little bit of brickiness to it, it is still able to get pretty good poses. Now, getting into accessories and gimmicks, let's start off, as always, with the sticker sheet and, by extension, color correction. Should be pretty obvious to tell what this is, but you do get a sticker for the eye, but not for the head cameras. So I decided to just go with painting it pink. Aside from that, it's just all the yellow on this, but we'll go over that now. Black, and that needs to be painted. Yellow on the chest. And here on the chest, it's not entirely consistent on whether or not the outer edges of these cannons needs to be painted. I just did it because it's on the painted model, but it's not consistent whether these are just left red or not. The inner circle is always black though, so that needs to be painted. The yellow on the shoulder is paint, or stickers at least. The red on all three of those needs to be painted. The red and the black, well, I guess if you don't paint that, you just paint the red. But the red up on this and down there on both the inside and outside of the leg, and the yellow here. Then bring it around to the back. The red in these verniers and the yellow stripes there. And unfortunately, the tops of the hips, that white in there is purple plastic for some reason. And even worse, the center of the elbow is part of this plastic, so you have to paint the white on this. That was a pain. There's some weird engineering decisions on this thing when it comes to the color correction. Now, there's only really a couple of accessories and gimmicks to talk about. First one, the faceplate can actually open up, which is nice. Second, if you pull off one of those panels, and yeah, there's one on both arms, you can take the frankly enormous shield and plug it into the arm. Come on. There we go. It's on a ball joint, so it's pretty easy to get a nice pose out of it. And thankfully, the shoulder joint is strong enough to actually hold it, so it doesn't fold too much. It is still really heavy though. And of course, the final gimmick, this thing is actually transformable. Start off by separating the shield. Also, you do have to pop this out. Flip this up around and click it in there. And same thing on this side. Then you plug these back in. And those just kind of sit off to the sides for now. Next up, I'm just going to get this out of the way. You do want to remove these little plug panel things in the thighs here, which are 1 and come on 2. Okay. This isn't even a difficult transformation, it's just really unwieldy because of how big it is. Next up, you want to fold up those V-fins, slide the neck back on the track, and push this panel down. Oh, now it doesn't want to go down. It wouldn't stay up earlier. There we go. There's 2 tracks that the neck plate goes down on into the head. These fold up and then slot down into the neck like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all the way down now. This comes up and can open up. Whoa. Like that. It's the back panel. Goes over, closes down. Then this panel comes up and covers the face. Ah, yes. Because the torso does unhinge, right? There we go. Pull this apart down here. Come on. There we go. Then the chest slides out on the hinge. And the crotch falls off because all it's held on by is those 3 little pegs. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I'd recommend gluing that piece on in there. Just make sure you don't accidentally glue the hinge in place. That goes there, and then this panel there folds. This piece here is up in the chest, and you fold that down, and that plugs in to the hole right there. Then that folds up like this. There we go. Okay. Straighten that out. This is actually kind of cool. I'm gonna fold these at the knee just to free up these panels. Flip over the size. Right. Now, keep the knees straight. Pull them down there. And then you kind of just want to pull the whole leg down. Like that. And this folds up like that, and this clicks over the... Oh, bring this one all the way down. And then this comes up like that, and like this, and like that, and this goes like this. There. Not the simplest thing in the world to do, but basically want it to look pretty much like that. And then just do that on the other side too. Surprisingly, it actually holds in place pretty well when you do that, considering nothing locks in. Put this panel down. Okay, now we're this far. That folds up. This folds down. These 2 bits telescope out a certain amount, which it doesn't like to actually show you how much. Anyway, this bends up, and you want to bend these all at the first knuckle, and fold them in, do the hand, and the thumb just sits over top of them, like this kind of. They always bend up at a weird angle. It's I don't understand what's going on with the fingers. Never behave. Right. Okay, pull that chunk out, pull this out, and you fold it in. Basically, like this, you want the hand to fit into the gap here. Like that. And then this just sort of plugs into that there, and that pretty much does it. Then again, you just do the same thing on this side. And I'm just gonna skip it. Okay, and finally, you just, remember correctly, grab this back at that angle, and you plug it down into the thigh. On both sides, lining up the bottom of this with the arm. Right, that's easier said than done, apparently. Okay. And anyway, the shield plugs into the arm on the underside right there. There we go. And there you have it. The mobile armor mode. Kind of a pain in the ass to do this transformation, and to be honest, it's a bit finicky and not super sturdy. That might just be this copy, but things don't like to stick together that well. It's just not that great, to be honest. Granted, I'm not a huge fan of this mobile armor anyway, because it's just sort of a lump that flies around. It's a transformation. It doesn't really transform into anything, but it is technically a transformation. Anyway, let me get this transformed back, and we'll wrap this review up. And as for a quick size comparison, I have it up against the back wall and the camera back as far as it'll go, and it's still very slightly going off frame up at the V-fins. This thing is it's a little bit on the large size. I mean, for comparison, yeah, that's the Revive. It's a little bit big. So, to wrap this review up, the Psycho Gundam is alright. The articulation and color separation are a little bit lacking. I can understand the missing red, not so much the yellow. The yellow could have easily been part separated, but I can still ignore that. The missing head stickers for the cameras is dumb. They could have easily included those. I don't really understand why they didn't, to be honest, if they were going to include eye stickers at all. But really, there's only two reasons you'd want this. One, it's piloted by 4, and 2, this thing is massive. This has a shelf presence like no other high grade. As much as I wish they would make the other ones that would, but if you want a massive high grade, this is a decent choice. This mobile armor has a massive presence and makes for a pretty great display piece. And that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. Subscribe and hit the bell to be alerted for future reviews. Come chill in the Discord. Follow me on Twitter, if that's even still around. And consider supporting me on Patreon so I can keep bringing you videos like this. And, as always, until next time, happy building.